is John Stipple. I'm the global brand manager for Spector Bass. So Spector is an over 45-year-old company. It was started in Brooklyn, New York in 1976. And at that time, the founder of the company, his name was Stuart Spector, he was a young guitar builder and he was looking to build something unique and different. And he collaborated with another young builder at that time named Ned Steinberger. And they developed a design that was the first of its kind for electric basses. So we used a neck-through design that was fully contoured, fully radiused, and it became the template for everything that we do today. So we have over 45-year lineage of design history. We've had some really amazing bass players over the years also play these basses, players like Sting from The Police, Doug Wimbish from Living Colour, Jack Bruce from Cream, and a lot of other great bass players over the years. And that's really the story. We've been manufacturing in the United States, in New York, since that time, since 1976. We currently have a custom shop in Woodstock, New York, where we're making about 300 custom basses every year. We're also manufacturing our high-end Euro series in the Czech Republic, and we also have some really great innovative new products like the NS Dimension, which is our multi-scale design. So the NS Ethos series is something we introduced in 2021, and essentially we named it Ethos because it represents the core of Spector's design principles. So it's a neck-through bass, which is something that's very important to Spector design. It's a contoured bass, so it has our fully radius body design. And also the colors that we chose for that bass are representative of a lot of the colors that we use in the custom shop in Woodstock, New York. And we use some really highly figured poplar burl wood to really bring out the best in those colors. We chose to use Aguilar pickups and Aguilar electronics in that as well because we find that they're the most versatile, and I think that we want to offer that Spector design and that Spector experience to as many bass players as possible, and we find that the Aguilar electronics really allow us to do that. So going back to the history of Spector, the first instrument was called an NS1, and NS stands for Ned Steinberger. He was the guy that designed the bass, right? And they called it 1 because it had one pickup. It had a P precision style pickup. The famous NS2 model, it had 2 pickups, and the difference was that they added the jazz pickup, right? So at that time, you have to remember, again, this is the late 1970s. So, I mean, you could buy a Fender bass, you could buy a Gibson bass, you could buy a Music Man bass, but there wasn't that many options for bass players. And at that time, there was no other bass that offered both precision style pickup and a jazz bass style pickup. And Spector became really well known for that. So all of the famous bass players over the years that have used an NS2 or a Spector 4-string bass have always had the P and the J. So now it's something that's very common, but back then it was new, and that became something that was very much a part of the Spector sound. The NS1 and the NS2 were really revolutionary at their time, offering things like active EMG pickups when that was not available at that time. You know, having an EMG pickup was hard to do at that time, and you couldn't buy a new instrument that had EMGs in it. But Spector started to innovate that way, offering active pickups, offering different combinations of pickups that people were not used to. We're also one of the first companies to develop 5-string basses. You know, so Spector is a heritage brand with many, many years of history, and usually if we're doing something that seems a little unusual, it's because that's part of our history, you know, and that was the way that we developed these basses, yeah. That's a good question, yes. I think a lot of it has to do with the sound first. So a lot of our instruments are neck through, which offers a little bit more mid-range presence, more sustain. They're also a little bit easier to play up high on the neck. So the instrument itself lends it to a little bit more versatile style. We use a very big high mass bridge. We use a brass nut. So all that's adding to the sustain and the resonance of the instrument. And then of course when it comes to pickups, again, talking about like EMG or using Fishman or even Aguilar, we've always tried to provide a powerful pickup and preamp to the player so that they can really customize the sound for what their needs are. There's a few different ways, you know. A lot of times it starts with the wood, right? So we have a lot of different species of wood that we like to work with. Quilted maple, flame maple, spalted maple, buckeye burl, walnut burl, all these kind of things, right? And they all have unique grain patterns. They all have unique visuals to them. So if we have a really extraordinary, exceptional piece of wood, we always use that as the inspiration and say, okay, look at the figuring and what kind of colors can we apply to this to really enhance the natural beauty of the wood. We have over the years developed a lot of really interesting, unique, bright colors that we like to use, and we know that those colors work really well with certain woods. We've recently installed a brand new finishing department with a brand new spray booth at the custom shop. So we've been exploring with a lot of different color paints now as well. And then ultimately, we work very closely with either the dealers or with the end users themselves who have ideas that we want to try to express. You know, and that's the beauty of the custom shop, is that we really can get very, very specific with each bass about how it's going to look, sound, and play.